Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in and welcome to Media 2 Africa. Today we have a great debate topic and we have also a very strong guest. We are honored today to have our elder brother, Mr. Eric Chinje, who has accepted to be with us tonight. Eric Chinje will be talking with Dr. Pat Ayuk, who is in South Africa, and also Mrs. Caroline. Media 2 Africa has tried to talk on the impact of social media on politics and how it has exposed dictatorial regimes in Africa and throughout the world. I'll be welcoming my guest. We'll start with Mrs. Caroline. Karin, you're welcome to Media 2 Africa.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So pleased to be here.
Same here. Our guest will be honored to have you as well. It's been this is your first event to be on Media 2 Africa. We're checking with Dr. Pat Ayuk if he's online. Dr. Pat, is your connection issue resolved? Dr. Pat Ayuk. I love listening to and watching in any event that he happens to be present. Tonight, Eric Chinje has blessed Media 2 Africa to be present and to talk on social media and the impact it has on the dictatorial regimes in the world at large and Africa in particular. Eric Chinje, is your line open? Okay, it's like we can't get to Eric Chinje right now, but before our sound engineer connects Eric Chinje back, I'll be talking with Caroline. Karin, sorry, I keep calling you Caroline. Karin, we are happy to have you on our platform. This is your first event. What is your take on the impact of social media in this 21st century, Karin? Karin, you surely have some issues too. We are talking this time around the world. Social media is making it easier for people to have a voice in government, to discuss issues, organize around causes, and also hold leaders accountable. Thanks to social media, we record the glory days of CRTV, Ivorian televisions, where they were just monopolizing the display of information until social media stepped in, that people have a voice to say and to express themselves without going through the state TV or state radio. We have known days where some famous people would come and announce some
we just, they told me I disconnected. I didn't realize I did.
Video
so I'm reconnected.
that show a lot of things that nobody can contradict. It forces the state media to talk the truth at times. So we are honored tonight that we'll be having our big brother, Eric Chinje, who has honored us to be present and talk on social media. And it is always an honor. And also, Africans at large, when the name Eric Chinje is mentioned, everybody wants to watch him and listen to him. Eric Chinje, once more, welcome to Media 2 Africa. I know you've always been here. You've been doing a lot of things to help Media 2 Africa go ahead and really develop. And we are honored to have you. Eric Chinje is back. Thank God the some issues are resolved. Eric Chinje, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, my petit frère. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be with you, and I'm glad. I feel honored that you guys, reached out to me, and I'm looking forward to this important debate, because I think the issues are critical for not only for Canada, but for all of Africa, and why not for the world. Sure. So I'm looking forward to this.
Thanks so much.
And welcome to Caroline and to Pat.
Yeah, Karin, did you hear Eric Chinje's welcoming you as well? As we also welcome you to Media 2 Africa. As I said, we are so honored to have people who have accepted to bless our platforms, especially Eric Chinje. Anytime he passes, we have a lot of calls and messages. Where is Eric Chinje? I just want to tell you where at large Eric Chinje is in the United States of America. So people will be hearing from him. Karin, it's your sound when social media stepped in. We've had kind of fake news. We've had also good news coming from different platforms where bloggers would post and some people would share contradictory messages. And thank God we have other government platforms that are organizing the display of information. What is your take on the evolution of social media and the impact it has on the political, on the governments of different countries of the world? Okay, Patrick is there. Dr. Patrick, are you back?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Welcoming you to Media to Africa. We have Eric Chinje, who has honored our platform to again once more to be here. So we are thanking you too to find time to be here with us. Media 2 is happy to have people of your stance who will always accept to come and share knowledge with people who are faithful to Media 2 Africa. Welcome, introduce yourself, and we set the ball rolling.
Thank you so much for welcoming Modest. And thank you. It's a pleasure to meet people like Eric Chinje on the same platform. I'm Dr. Patrick Ayok, and I am the director of the Sam Sawyer Center for Democracy and Human Rights.
Okay, that sounds great. Democracy and human rights. Then when the impact of social media steps in, what is your take about the impact of social media on democracy and also on human rights? I know it's a boost on the other side, and surely it is not very welcomed when it comes to democracy, where there's a lot of dictatorial interference.
Yeah, that is a very good, interesting question. As far as human rights is concerned, when you talk about democracy and human rights, the impact of social media has been so significant. It has actually precipitated the aspect of democracy in such a way that information can circulate, dictators can be held accountable. Today, people can no longer be unsettled in wherever they belong without the world knowing what is happening. And we've heard of crises in the world that have hit international platforms or international media. It's because of the presence of social media. Also, it has also brought some challenges that we'll also look at as the program progresses. Challenges in terms of fake news and challenges in terms of authenticating what is correct, and what is appropriate, and what is wrong on the social media platform. But above all, it has made progress in democracy. It has created a relevant avenue for people to come together in a very short form and try to destroy those people that have the attitude of destroying humanity, destroying the rights of people. And therefore, the significance of the social media can never be overemphasized as far as democracy is concerned and rights are concerned, especially the right to live and the rights to human dignity.
Thank you so much for that, with that powerful intro. We'll be having Eric Chinje now, who will be giving his overview of social media and the impact it has on democracy.
Thanks a lot, Modest. Yes. I hope you hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, fantastic. Okay. Look, I think technology in general continues to evolve, and how human society with it. So there's no question of it does evolve. I think with it, human values change, human systems change, and in the process, we develop an international culture of which Africa, Cameroon in particular, has to be a part. And that culture has to do a lot with how we see ourselves as a government. If you take, we're currently embroiled in the trial here of the guy who put his knee on the neck of Joyd. And the entire universe is following that. fundamental questions of our humanity are being asked. So somehow we are within that, that global environment where we're exchanging our sense of who we are and how we are and what justice, for example, is. So all of that is playing out through social media. But I say all of this in spite of what I believe fundamentally about social media, which I think continues to may not have as positive an impact on developments in Africa as it ought to.
Yes.
Social media in Africa has indeed muddied the waters. You would hope that this means of communication, which allows every citizen to be a producer and a consumer of news, you would hope that in that process, as we produce information as a community, we share who we are, we share what we are about. But what do you see on social media in a cross-section of African countries? What you see is a lot of diatribe. You see a lot of insults. You see a lot of negative news. You see a lot of, as Pat said, fake news. We don't have means systems of authentication. I happen to be part of an organization called Africa Check. The reason we put that organization together was to hopefully verify media content and ensure that what consumers of media are getting can be verified and authenticated. But it became so overwhelming, Check is no longer able to just keep pace with the amount of horrific information that's out there in social media. So we've not become that gatekeeper of democratic values that social media could have allowed us to become. We're not. As a matter of fact, what we've done is created a platform where what we've transformed this into is a platform where fake news takes on a life of its own. And smart politicians use it to confuse citizens. And in the end, you don't know where truth lies. In the end, you don't know where the middle ground is. So, has social media contributed to the expanse of democracy in Africa? It's I think the answer is still up. It's very mitigated. I don't think. I think we have to revisit quality of content on media, and to see if it enhances, if it enriches our social dialogue or not. And so far, I don't think it does. Just an example, and I'll stop here. The Cardinal, Cameroon won the top person in Cameroon is Cardinal Toomey, who died this morning or yesterday.
Yes.
But what is on social? It's not so much about the death of this eminent personality. It is about the picture that the hospital released. That's what everybody's talking about. I mean, the first thing I heard was, "Oh, did you see Cardinal Toomey's picture?" So what? I have a picture of Cardinal Toomey. What are you talking about? And I said, "Oh, he died." Can you imagine? And this happened this morning, a few hours ago. That I got this call at 3 a.m. here. So anyway, again, we need to deepen this discussion on social media. We need to engage more broadly with cross sections of society, and hopefully in Africa, in Cameroon especially, let us come to some kind of broad consensus on what this very important instrument can help us achieve in terms of our development, in terms of our political enhancement and so on. So sorry, Modest, that's too much talking on my part.
It's okay. That was so important that we didn't have any choice than just watch and listen. So we thank you with that intro. Karin, you are back?
Yes, I'm back.
Thank God. So you surely listened to Big Brother Eric Chinje talking, and I'm sure it's one of your first times to share the same platform with him. So what is your take on the impact of social media on democracy?
Thank you very much, Modest, for this opportunity to weigh in on the topic that is in discussion at the moment. I think that with the emergence of social media, we've seen more pros than cons of social media, because it has exposed democracy at different levels. We have democracies that before the emergence of social media, we knew that they were the best democracy in the world. But the emergence of social media has shown the loopholes that exist even in the democracies in the parts of the world where we used to think that they were the best. So even when you look at the continent of Africa, with the emergence of social media, we've seen a lot of things that when we were going with the traditional media, we never knew all those things. Coming from Cameroon and talking from the perspective of what is going on there right now, the struggle that is going on in Cameroon right now, I think that without the social media, we will be doomed. We will not be where we are today. Even though social media, as comrade, can I call you Comrade Eric Chinde? I don't know. But as he mentioned earlier,
go ahead.
Okay, as he mentioned earlier, there is a lot of fake news, a lot of fake information that circulates on social media. But I think that with technology has equally given us the ability to be able to sift through this information that flows on social media and to be able to determine what is right or what is closest to that which is right. Because I myself, I didn't know that there were tools on social media that you could be able to use to determine what is right or what is fake and what is real. So I found myself posting or reposting stuff that I found on Facebook per se, and I was cautioned by somebody who now told me on how to get those tools that you can use to be able to determine whether a news item is fake or is real. So I think that all in all, even though there is a lot of fake information going on social media, but it is helping tremendously, especially on the continent of Africa. It is, because it is exposing some of the things that are happening in countries in Africa that were not known before the emergence of social media. And for the youth, I would say for the youth, they will say all is good. All is good about that. So I think that we as Comrade Eric Chinjezi say, that as Cameroon, Cameroon has to sit together and see how they can make social media better, how it can be better in terms of spreading information or spreading accurate information to the consumers. Yes. So, but from my perspective, I think there is more advantages that have come from the emergence of social media than disadvantages. But particularly when it comes talking of Africa in particular, even though as Comrade Eddie Chinje did mention earlier about the issue that happened in the United States where a police officer put his knee on the neck of George Floyd. If social media was not around, I don't think that we would have known what happened actually, because we had to follow it step by step and we got to see it for ourselves. If social media was not available, I think that culprits will go. Culprits they will run away from crime scene.
Sure.
But social media has made it possible that we see everything that is going on. But now it's left for us to be able to sift through this information and make sense of what we consume. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll be turning to Dr. Ayuk. Social media for real has brought more good than bad, although it is difficult to get something that will be so perfect. And if users of social media uses it the right way, it would bring simply just good. It's like people manipulate social media to their own personal selfish interest, and that is where it gets bad. Like sharing information. We got up this morning with the news of the departure of His Eminence, Christian Cardinal Toomey. Still to verify whether we have good sources that it is true or is fake. So I'm sure as the program unfolds, we surely hear to know if it's confirmed, and that would be a very big loss for Africa and the world at large. Dr. Patrick, social media really has its ups and downs, but where is the freedom? Where is justice? Why would government take it like a challenge? Meanwhile, it should also use it as a great tool of sharing information, like Eric Changer did say.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that the hitches or the setbacks that we have in relation to social media are very small, very minute to be bothered much about, and they can be addressed. Take, for instance, the issue of fake news can easily be addressed. And as Eric talked about, is a problem that is predominant in Africa, but it's actually a global issue about fake news. And the other thing, but the most important about social media, is how it has made dictators, especially like Paul Biya, to know that it is not longer business as usual. In 2016, Paul Biya taught Southern Cameroonians or Anglophones, or you can call, because they like to call themselves Amazonians. They are still in the 20th century or 19th century, that you can just kill them. You can just beat them anyhow. You can just do whatsoever you like without the world knowing. Those social media has taught the president. It has unraveled the lion and unsettled so many dictators like Paul Biya and the other Museveni in Uganda, that there is change and there is brutal change. So they did not know about this. That is why they go to Bamenda or so wherever the world and kidnap people and arrest people like Abobala, chase people like Tassan, and so on and so forth. It is because they thought it is still business as usual. Unfortunately, it's never. If not of social media, when they started this onslaught, this brutal onslaught, this ethnic cleansing, this systematic genocide, what happened? They shut down internet. Fortunately, internet groups like Bring Back Our Internet, partners that we work with in South Africa, the Right to Know, and Amazonians and Southern Cameroonians in general, easily galvanized. Some decided to share VPN that people can use. Some decided to tell people, take picture immediately and send what is happening. If not of internet, then what happened to the people of the Bamili case would have happened to Amazonia without the world knowing, without people sharing information on how to intervene. If not of the social media, our situation would have been worse than the Rwandan genocide. It is because of the social media that we can easily expose atrocities that are committed by strong regimes, by strong government, by brutal dictators, and repugnant regimes like that of President Paul Biya. It is because of the social media that we made the people, we have debunked the fake history. That people have easily learned the right kind of history to learn about their identity. They have actually known what is important for them. Those are the importance of social media. We have been taught the wrong history from inception. Our pedagogy have been misguided. The wrong pedagogy was delivered to people. Cameroonians were not taught the right history. Because of social media that there is fast dissemination of information, and now the people know, be it Amazonians or be French Cameroonians or people from La République, they now know their real history. They now know that the regime used to lie to them about the oneness, the one Cameroonianness, the indivisibility. The regime used to lie to them. They know that there are two Cameroons that came together, one that had its independence in 1960, and the other one that had its independence in 1961, that came together under a federated system of two states of equal status that has been depleted over time by a brutal regime, and those that think that they can force their identity on the identity of other people, a brutal system of assimilation. These are the good things of the internet. Now you look at what happened to Cardinal Toomey, may his soul rest in peace. I think this is authentic news in this case because we received an information and a condolence message from one of our partners, the Daniel Peace Institute, which is an organization owned by the Southern African Bishop, extending their condolences to the people of Southern Cameroon through our organization. So this is real news. Why did this picture the video go on board? This actually tells you how the Francophones disrespect Anglophones. This exactly tells you that they look Anglophones like rubbish, like nothing, like animal. They treat them anyhow. Because how on earth can you disrespect soul like that of the great Cardinal Toomey? It's unbearable. Do you think the Francophones will share the picture of any of their leaders in their hospital? It has never happened. We have not seen that. A great leader like Cardinal Toomey, a man of God, somebody who stood for the oppressed, somebody who stood for freedom and democracy. So it's disrespectful, it was disgusting, and it was intentional to just say that they are just the same kind of people who don't care about the identity or respect for human dignity. It was not an error. It is part of those problems, it's part of those issues that have caused a war in Cameroon, a war in southern Cameroon. So we need to look at those. Those are some of the issues that we have to look at and address. But the internet has come with a lot of great things, a lot of development, with a lot of interaction. Without the internet, we wouldn't have satellite television. We wouldn't have been able to operate to educate the people of Cameroon and the world at large about humanity, about the right thing, about education, about political economy, about economics. We are using this platform, which is a great platform, to educate the world, to share ideas because of the existence of the social media, it's because of the existence of platforms that can easily disseminate information. Unfortunately, even the social media itself, platforms like Facebook, we can see that they are compromised, or they can be compromised, because they select what to share, what to block. I'm challenging Facebook using this form to unblock Mark Barata and start blocking Mark Barata, because Mark Barata is an activist, is somebody who is in for social change, is fighting for justice, fighting equality, fighting for sustainable development, and fighting for the right to self-determination, which is an inalienable right to everybody. So they should stop blocking Mark Barata. He's doing something good for the people of Southern Cameroon. So if we look at it, then giant platforms like Facebook are also not doing well and are also not promoting the kind of democracy that we want as far as the social media world is concerned.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. It is very true that some people don't behave very nice when it comes to sharing information that is not verified, or sharing pictures of people that they are supposed to respect, like His Eminence, Christian Cardinal Toomey. And I would just say it would be better to say some of them, because not every Francophone, we know so many of them who really criticize that aspect of posting his photos. So it is really an unfortunate situation that we cannot really check or do a lot of checks before these things go live. Like Eric Chinje was saying, if we really valued it and did the normal checks and use it for the right purpose, social media would be a very great tool. So, and how can we then do this work? I think I will be sending back this question to Eric Chinje again, if there's any possibility that he sees in the nearest future such that social media will be used just for the right purpose.
Yes, Modest, I know you can hear me, I hope.
Yes.
Thanks again for the opportunity to expand on some of the things we talked about already. You know, I totally agree, you know, with Karen and Pat that we cannot overemphasize the importance of social media in the current context of global development. You know, as I said again at the beginning, all technology allows us to move forward, to improve on our on the social environment, to expand ideas, share ideas. You know, I believe that the social media constitutes in itself most important marketplaces of ideas, or the key marketplace of ideas today. You know, you go to social media, pick up everything from the most benign to the most important. It's there. What we may need are mechanisms for sift through what is on social media. When in the days of newspaper, we could easily identify what was fake and what wasn't. You know, on same thing on radio and television. Right now, this that combines all of the above, combines sound, combines image, and reach. So we have all of that on social media now. It's a matter of us, as people, as a nation, or as a continent, or as the world. It's up to us now to see how best to use what technology has offered us. We need, for example, you cannot have a democracy without Democrats, right? We've had this.
Sure.
Social media is a place or an instrument par excellence for evolving the Democrats that will people a democracy. In other words, we can inject those ideas. We can spend more time injecting those ideas into the popular discourse than the things that divide us. You know, we can evolve a new social construct for our society. I think, you know, there's so much, I was going to say venom, but maybe not. But there's so much, you know, there's as much things that move us forward as those that pull us back. And what we need to do is reestablish the balance in a way that the positive force can take precedence over the negative forces. We're still working on that. Can everybody, can you hear me? It looks like I'm frozen.
No, it's we.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I know. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think nobody can complain about where technology is taken us, how far it has come. I don't think it will, you know, it's achieved so much for the world. We know people, we know places. You know, it's so easy for me to find myself where you are, Pat and Karine in South Africa. You know, I mean, I'm seeing an image, maybe it's an image of Johannesburg or something. So, you know, we can transport ourselves just about anywhere in the world today thanks to social media. But there's a lot more positive things we can get out of it, and I hope that we can begin to zero in on those things that we need to emerge, to evolve the kinds of societies that we need to see. There is still a lot of, you know, there's a lot of talk. I talked about Cameroon. There's still a a lot of anger and hate and suspicion and division in Cameroon. And yet we've got the instrument. We've got the instrument to engage in some dialogue that will take us out of the current context we find ourselves in. So yes, social media is important. Social media is fantastic in terms of what it offers us, what it allows us to achieve. Yeah. But we've got to begin a new dialogue, I guess, and hopefully use this instrument in ways that will advance our society than is the case right now.
Thank you, Eric Chinje. Karin, I think you have a take on this. Social media and the desperate moves of a dictatorial regime to take off some information of news. So what is your take, Karin? Like we know of recent years, the Cameroonian government shut down the internet. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate that that is how dictators operate around the continent. So it wasn't surprising the least bit to us who are in the struggle, in the Amazonian struggle, to have awoken to that news that the internet was shut down. When you look at it, that's how dictators they behave. Dictators always they've been flying under the radar for quite a while. So with the emergence of social media, we've been able to see and to identify the dictators of Africa, of the continent. When we look at before the emergence of democracy, or when the democracy emerged in Africa in 1991, we can see that dictators abused democracy. They abused democracy. But with the emergence of social media, we have been able to see all those areas in which abuse have been taking place. When you look at the situation of Cameroon, many of us who grew up in the one and indivisible Cameroon of Paul Biya, we actually didn't know the gravity of the situation in Cameroon. We didn't know who we were at the time, even as Southern Cameroonians. As Comrade Patrick did say, our history was distorted. It was distorted, and in schools, we never learned what our history was all about. But as social media evolved and became what it is today, we have been able to dig this information, find it by ourselves, and share it, that we, Southern Cameroonians, know who we are, even helping the French Cameroonians, because most of them, they don't know the history of Cameroon. But social media has helped that we've come to the knowledge of who we are as a people of Southern Cameroon. And I think that the president of Cameroon is actually struggling with this aspect of social media. He's struggling very much to come to terms with it. But I think social media is here to stay, and we are going to use it to our advantage. We are going to use it. When you look at across Africa, we now know some of the dictators that are in Africa. When even before the social media arrived, we never knew those dictators. Yeah, so I think that it's a good thing. It's very much a good thing. We just have to find a medium whereby we will get the information through social media that is true, and information that deserves to come to social media, like the case that was just talked about by Comrade Patrick with regards to Cardinal Tumi. I think that was completely wrong. I think those are some of the things that we have to find ways to curb them, so that everyone who turns to social media knows exactly how to use it to build. Thank you.
Thank you, Karin. Dr. Patrick, you are a representative of a strong organization where we talk human rights and we talk democracy. We can't really go without these two strong platforms. So what are your organizations doing to make social media this tool that we're looking up to?
And thank you very much. On the issue of in order to come to your questions, let me just on a certain things. There are two things that we need to understand. There is a difference between fake news and authentic news considered fake news. And the other thing is irresponsible sharing, like what happened in relation to the late Cardinal. That is irresponsible sharing. Now, when we talk of authentic news being considered fake news, we see that dictators like Paul Biya, most of his military and people of his government tend to convert authentic news into fake news until when verified and shamed before they come, shamelessly and say, it was authentic. First, for instance, the Gabu massacre. When videos and pictures were being circulated, the military said, no, it's fake news, it wasn't the truth. But after a lot of satellite information and communication, it wasn't fake news. It was indeed authentic news, and unfortunately a situation and one of the unfortunate massacres in southern Cameroon. Recently, were killed in Mbonge, close to, some people say, about 24 or 20. The same military has sent out a report saying it's fake news, but that is actually authentic news. So there is a difference between dictators trying to play mind games with people and with the world, trying to say it's fake news. And therefore, what are we going to do when it comes to dealing with these issues? When internet was blocked and we joined organizations like the Right to Know. The Right to Know is a human rights organization in South Africa, which is our partner organization and is in charge of dissemination information. It is your right to know, to have the right information. It is your right to have knowledge. That's a right. And therefore, the social media is an inalienable right. So when it started, we actually went to the Pan-African Parliament together. My organization, our organization, worked together with the Right to Know to protest at Pan-African Parliament against internet shutdown and against abuse of people's rights to know. But what is the solution? The first thing is that we are trying to see how we can work with partner organizations, especially a civil society organization, because civil society organizations are organizations that are intermediary with government structures. They reach the grassroots. They touch the most rudimentary areas. They touch remote territories that the government or structures cannot reach. And by so doing, you'll be able to disseminate information to the people that are at the grassroots level on the responsibility. And
Eric, I will redirect this question to you, Eric Chinje.
Demand the brand, demand quality, demand the difference. When the best of you is expressed, demand Le Chacal. Available near you, Canada 001 647 808 7802, Cameroon 237 696 349 758. USA 01 301 992 9492. Paris, France 337 58 51 4333. Discover all our articles on chacalfashion.com. Le Chacal by Rodrigo Waco.
COSNET. Together, we are one strong community. When the unthinkable strikes, when you lose a loved one, the last thing that you want is to get into debts or go bankrupt because of paying the last tribute to the fallen family member in dignity. If you are a Cameroonian or a Cameroonian relative living in the United States or traveling very often anywhere around the world, you need COSNET, Community Solidarity Network. COSNET will stand by your family and provide them with financial help of $15,000 to repatriate and lay your remain to rest with dignity. Owned and operated by more than 100 Cameroonian associations from all 50 U.S. states. Cosnet has already helped 17 families in the United States and Cameroon with $255,000 since 2016. To join our fast-growing movement and the only Cameroonian community owned and operated by and managed for the Cameroonian associations in the United States, contact us through info@mycosnet.org and phone number. You can also go to www.mycosnet.org to learn more. Cosnet, together we are one strong community. Join us.
Ayuk was caught up. Sure, the sound engineer is working with him to bring him back. I will turn around and ask this question to Mr. Eric Chinje. I know he has traveled. He has represented a lot of so many organizations at their different levels. And with the lot of killings that is going back in Cameroon and also in other countries, and that social media is exposing, how long does it take for the United Nations or any human rights organization platform to step in to tell a country enough is enough? I don't know if Mr. Eric Chinje has an idea of this.
Thanks, Modest, and I mean that's a very important question, which I believe every Southern Cameroonian is interested in, because there's been concerns about why organizations like the United Nations haven't stepped into the Cameroonian debacle as forcefully as they have, for example, in Ethiopia, when the problem with Tigray started. And we see that same action being taken in Myanmar with the Rohingyas and in other places across the world. So the question is, why has Cameroon been so ignored or abandoned, maybe? And it is important to seek to understand why, because it is in understanding why that we can begin to provide the answers that will lead us to the expected outcome. We're not seeing those outcomes. I think all the actors in the Cameroon crisis, all the actors, I believe, operate at a level which not allow, and as you can see, I'm very carefully choosing my words.
Sure.
It's so easy. It's so easy for so it was trying to call me on this same on my phone. It is, one has to choose one's words carefully, because it is so easy to fall to say things that do not settle well with one or the other, and instantly you get vilified. So I'm saying this. There is a reason the world has not stepped in as it should in the Cameroonian crisis. The government is doing what it should do, which is try to ensure that, oh no, we're taking care of the problem. And on the other side, the Amazonians, and I'll use the term Amazonians because that's who best represents the other side. There's a certain inability to look at how the world systems operate and play by those rules. We cannot set up. We cannot act on our own. I'll give you a couple of examples. How many voices speak for that call? How many currently? How many voices? And if you go in and say, oh, it's the Amazonian Defense Council, there'll be 10 other groups that pick on you. If you go in and say it's Ayuk, I happen to have been with Ayuk to visited him in jail. If just mention Ayuk to some people, they'll dismiss him. I mean, as a matter of fact, some of the Anglophone leaders I spoke to told me Ayuk is, and they chose this term, Ayuk is a casualty of war. So he should be, he's in jail with them, so there's nothing he can do to help us. Mandela was in jail and helped his people. Ayuk is in jail and can help his people, but he has to demonstrate that he has people with him. Who speaks for the Anglophones in Cameroon today? And so, they're fighting for a cause, for democracy, for independence, for the freedom to act, and then you turn around and you realize if you give these people the freedom they want, they'll go in 10 directions, as happened in South Sudan. South Sudan is a crisis, and I know it. I've had dinner, coffee, tea with President Salva Kiir in his house. And I could, in spite of all his good intentions, a very simple man, he cannot stop the other forces at play in South Sudan, with Riek Machar and the others. And because they didn't know I was, I met with Riek Machar's people, and they swore to me, said there's no day there'll be peace in that country as long as it is not under Riek Machar. I'm hearing the same things coming from people who support Ayuk and those who support what's this other guy here in the United States, the pastor.
Yes.
Look, we need to figure out how we stop this thing and stop people from dying. There are too many deaths, and they'll tell you, oh, it's the government's responsibility. Yes, the government will continue to kill if these things continue on. If the disagreements and the inability to come together continues. I've received pictures of the Anglophone fighters, some of them, who kidnap and torture and extract from ransom from those they kidnap. None of this argues in favor of a solution. Why not try to fix the Amazonian house? Why not try to build consensus on what it is we want? I know that some people within that Anglophone group are working with the government, from what I've been informed. Okay, you have to take that into account. That's the world we live in. How do we get them to be part of that total presentation that will be made to the global community? We can't even build a road to Bamenda because of the fear. So, the economy has been brought to a halt. Yes, it's part of, maybe the government did that, but the money to build the road is coming from the World Bank, and it cannot. So people who could have been working on that road, providing sand, doing some side jobs, they can't do that. They cannot earn the income from that because the fighters are on the road, and they'll make sure that nothing goes. So I don't know who's the loser in all of this, and for how long it will continue. There needs to be so if we can use social media to build consensus on the other side, there is no. Pat, you're looking at me. Karen, you're looking at me, and you know what I'm saying is true. Don't deny it. And if it is true, then let's counteract that. Let's figure out how we can have a single voice. As I speak to the folks here at Congress who want to support the Anglophone movement, like they did with the Sudanese when South Sudan was fighting the North. Their strength came from America. of the South Sudanese. That same group wants to support the Anglophone movement, but they wouldn't. They cannot. Because who are they? Who are they working with? They've had meetings here, they've made declarations, but these are only declarations. Until we get to a point where American policy towards Cameroon is consistent, where what is coming out of Congress is consistent with what's coming out of the administration, where USAID, OPIC, Exim Bank, all of these instruments of foreign policy, American foreign policy, all of them are coordinated until we get to that point. Because when they do, the United Nations will follow, the World Bank will follow, and others. But they will not as long as they do not see harmony, consistency in what is coming out of that country. So my point is, we can, again, we're talking about social media here. We can change the nature of the dialogue. We can. Asking the right question, moving towards a generalized consensus on who will speak for us. But nobody's going to stake political capital on people who maybe are fighting more for themselves than for the community. And that's the impression I get when I look at the chaos in our part of the country. And it's chaos that's resulting in massive deaths, in a lot of suffering. There are global NGOs that want to help. Human Rights Watch, for example. All of these institutions want to help, but how can they? Who do they talk to? When they want, even the UN would send people out, and they get, young fighters, I'll call them that, would stop them, and not knowing the importance of the UN to the cause, they menace this, they start troubling these people. And nothing, and the UN, the next thing is, the report that comes is, oh, well, there's serious problems, there's, there's massive killings, it's happening on both sides, you've heard that, and then nothing happens. The UN cannot stake its reputation on a situation that is totally out of control. So I'm sorry, again, I tend to speak too long. Modest, please stop me when you think I've taken more time than I should.
Thank you. You were bringing in so important facts that I'm sure I saw Dr. Ayuk shaking his head. And if this is true for real, because this is really a fact, there are people who can readily fight the mention of Ayuk stronger than fighting the Cameroonian government. There are people who can equally fight the other faction leader, the pastor. The name just went off my head, my mind. So, like Mr. Eric said, who speaks for the Anglophone people? They could have gotten strong support till now, but the diversity in their stance, the faction has really saved them like a hindering block, like Mr. Eric said. So I'll be turning to Karin to give you a take about this, and the inability to really stand like one man and coordinate and speak in one voice and seek for support. I think that would have been the best thing that would happen for the struggle leaders. Karin, what is your take on this?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there is segregation in the revolution at the moment. But show me any revolution that has occurred in the world that there has not been segregation. But I think, and what I think, what I believe is that we'll eventually find our way, because those that are seeking what is right with the right mind, they surpass those who are speaking with the wrong mind. I believe that at some point, it's unfortunate that it will be later than earlier, but at some point, we'll eventually find our way, and the international community will see the person that is speaking for the Anglophones, as we call it. I think that when you look at the social media has really been, it has really been tremendous in a way that when you look at, hello?
Yeah, Karin, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been in a way that when you look at the revolution, the Southern Cameroon revolution at the moment, when you look at it, and you will see that during the times of other revolutions like South Sudan, the social media was not that popular that could expose all that was going on, all the struggles and the segregation that was going on at the time. Even when you look at Eritrea, I believe that some of the things that we are facing today as Ambazonians in this struggle, these people of these different nations, they did face those things. But because social media is so strong now, that is why the world tends to see the division that is among us. But I strongly believe that there will come a point in time when we will all come together and do the right thing and charter the right course for the Ambazonian people. I believe that because those who are fighting for, who are Ambazonians fighting for, are more than those who are fighting against, who are Ambazonians. And in a long run, we are going to emerge victorious. I believe that with all of my heart. I do. But the unfortunate thing is that we may take longer than we would have if we were talking with the same mouth and doing the same things and agreeing at the moment on what it is that we want for ourselves. It's unfortunate that we as a people have allowed the enemy to come in between and divide us, because La République du Cameroon is the enemy in this situation, and they have been able to pinpoint the weaknesses and exploit them to their advantage. But I think that there will come a time, and that time will be very soon, that we will all be able to come together and work as one man.
Yes, Dr. Ayuk, I will be turning to you. The fact that some other revolutions suffered these setbacks simply because social media wasn't the main tool by then, it should have been a plus for this particular revolution now that there's social media. Like Karin is saying, if the government has already pinpointed some points that is working against the revolution, why not take advantage of the fact that you already know and right the wrongs, so that you speak like one person and fight the right cause? Dr. Ayuk, can you attempt to answer the fact that there are segregations existing in previous revolutions, and today the same cause is being repeated instead of correcting that fact and fighting the right way? Dr. Ayuk?
Thank you much.
Yeah.
I'd like to a little agree. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'd like to disagree a little bit with Comrade Eric, and I will also a little bit try to add to what Comrade Karin has just said. The first thing we must understand, the Southern Cameroon's revolution is successful, is winning big time. It is winning in the sense that the level of international exposure to this revolution is the shortest as far as revolutions are concerned. When Paul Biya left Ivory Coast on that unfortunate day, when he met with other leaders, including Macron, in Ivory Coast, and he left so with a lot of confidence to come and declare a war against the people of Southern Cameroon. He was doing that declaration based on his thinking that he will crush the people within a week or within months. It is up to almost 5 years now. That is a success story. They are actually biting themselves. They are actually pinching themselves that how did we get this wrong? So it's not a failure, it is a success. It is cruising well. What is happening is the characteristics of successful revolution. No revolution is a roller coaster. No revolution can ever go smoothly. If we take example with what happened in South Africa, we get a lot of communication, dialogue, and discussion with South African comrades that have passed through, that have revolutionary tendencies in their blood and in their veins. They tell you guys you are doing well because it took us almost 15 to 20 years before the world started talking. We knocked the 10 Downing Street so many times to talk to the Queen. We were turned down. So that the world is talking. Within 5 years, the Senate is capable of passing a resolution 684. That is success. Within 5 years, a member of parliament in the French parliament, like Honorable, is talking about the Ambazonian revolution and the suffering of the people. The European Parliament is speaking, and other parliaments are talking in the world. That is not a failing mission. That is not a failed mission. It's a mission that is succeeding. Now, when you talk of groups like, there are so many human rights organizations. Some are working for regimes, some are unauthentic, some lack the quality of promoting the human right they are standing for. If an organization like Human Rights Watch, I have been monitoring Human Rights Watch, I have it keenly, and I communicate with them, but I've also talked to them that they are losing their credibility. They are not acting like credible organization. No credible organization, hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No credible organization,
Yes.
yeah, no credible organization will see a conventional military massacring people, carrying ethnic cleansing and systematic genocide, and he will say it is violent on both sides. No credible organization says that. People are fighting with rudimentary tools, defending themselves, and there is a total onslaught with conventional weapons. And you will go and say it's violent on both sides. It can never be that. That itself reduces your credibility. And I've said this time without number to Human Rights Watch. Because it is biased.
You previously talked of when the internet was shut down. You represented your organizations to strong platforms to talk about it, and you guys fought that. How long would it take to fight for that same cause so that the human right or be it what organization can step in and say it is too much, that there have been more deaths than expected till then? Because just for internet shutdown, you stepped up with your organization to fight that. So what are the steps you guys are taking to equally step up and meet the United Nations, be it Human Rights Watch and other organizations to step in?
Okay, we're working with a lot of organizations. Apart from what we did with other groups, partner organizations to deal with the internet issue, we're actually doing capturing of information, disseminating information that's happening on the ground to authentic organizations. We report some of the atrocities. What you see there.
Mon peuple je suis impuissante.
See through the eyes of international star Sami Diko. Microphone, the golden voice, Stéphane Le Chevalier. Experience the magic with Maréchal Tiano, la voix chromée. On the mix, DJ Olivier from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. at Luxury Hall, Hampton Conference Center, 207 Hampton Place. Media to Africa, VIP sponsor, Africa Gora, Decor, Shalom Services, Seats Limited, priced at $150 and up. Experience the reality here. Aperitif, dîner à la carte, served with wine, show all night with champagne, nectar rose. Don't miss out. Call now 240-6830. Visit our website www.adasamothersdaynight.com. Adasanite, mother, loving, caring, and compassionate.
Yes.
COSNET. Together, we are one strong community. When the unthinkable strikes, when you lose a loved one, the last thing that you want is to get into debts or go bankrupt because of paying the last tribute to the fallen family member in dignity. If you are a Cameroonian or a Cameroonian relative living in the United States or traveling very often anywhere around the world, you need COSNET, Community Solidarity Network. COSNET will stand by your family and provide them with financial help of $15,000 to repatriate and lay your remain to rest with dignity. owned and operated by more than 100 Cameroonian associations from all 50 U.S. states. COSNET has already helped 17 families in the United States and Cameroon with $255,000 since 2016. To join our fast-growing movement and the only Cameroonian community owned and operated by and managed for the Cameroonian associations in the United States, contact us through info@mycosnet.org and phone number. You can also go to www.mycosnet.org to learn more. COSNET. Together, we are one strong community.
Thank you so much from Media to Africa for staying connected. Special greetings to Jesse Itambi, Ferdinand Fai Tamfo, and Josh Kangon, watching all the way from Virginia. We have had a lot of technical issues on the side of Dr. Patrick, which he would have contributed a lot and to make it more interactive with Big Brother Eric Chinje and Karin. Unfortunately, network is playing him a bad deal. So I'll be turning to Karin so Eric can be able to step in and surely give these strong contributions that he's been giving throughout this talk. Karin, what is your contribution, like in relation to what Dr. Ayuk was saying, and also from the facts that Eric Chinje did say?
Please, can you just give me a heads up on what I actually knocked out my comrade Patrick, so I didn't follow up on that conversation.
Yes, I know to go around with what he's been saying will be another long talk. But Eric, what talking? I know you did listen to Mr. Eric Chinje. He talked of the factions. Yes. I know you came back with the segregation that is existing in other groups. Then we were questioning that if we have had the opportunity to know that segregation did happen in other groups, and now with the powerful tool of the internet, why would we want to go that path and suffer that same segregation instead of putting things right and go just a smooth way?
Yes, it's unfortunate because we are dealing here with human minds, with human beings who have the ability to think and act the way they please. And it has gravely put a setback on the revolution per se. But I think that, as Comrade Patrick was saying, we have been able to do more in the 4 years that the revolution has been in existence than many other revolutions had the opportunity to achieve. We have achieved a lot more, even though, as you said, that there's segregation, and I actually agree with that. But we've done a lot more, and it is well, we only at this point we can only hope and pray that the people who are bringing the segregation, who are bringing division in the revolution, will amend their ways and be able to follow the bigger vision of the majority of Ambazonians. So we're working with human minds. There's just so much we can do to control the way people think and the way people behave. But for the majority of us who are staying the course, we'll continue to do the right thing to expose that which needs to be exposed when it comes to the ills that are going on ground zero, the ills that are being perpetrated on our people, even some of the ills that, whether from whichever side it is, we'll continue to expose them and continue to make our voice heard on the international stage through the media, so that hopefully at some point, because what we're fighting for is a just cause. It's a just cause we're fighting for. When you go to dig into history, you will see that it's a just cause that we're fighting for. And hopefully those who have part of our destiny in their hands will be able to release that and will be the independent people that we're desiring to be at this point.
Thank you. That is your opinion, and you have the right to your opinion. And equally, from other sides, we can see also that you have strong points to that. And when we want to look it from the other way, we say the government of Cameroon also would say they're fighting a just cause to maintain Cameroon's unity. So when situations like this come, we have two sides to a coin. So I think I will be going back to Eric Chinje, whose contribution has been so great. He has not had any technical hitch like Dr. Ayuk and Karin had. So his contributions did benefit the discussion a lot. So I would love to go back to Eric Chinje about the social media impact on modern democracy.
Thanks a lot, Destin. Thanks to Pat and Karin for the contributions to this. You know, look, I think we have to agree that we are all engaged in a for solution, the right answers to these critical life issues. And if we agree that it's a search, then we should open our eyes and ears to what's going on. We should open our minds to what's going on. We should not vilify. We should not unnecessarily just accept what everybody is saying. We should open up and engage and try to find consensus. You know, and I say this in all humility. Every revolution has been identified. It may often take some time to zero in on who the leader of that revolution is. But until there is a leader that the world can identify with, it is usually very difficult to find a solution to that crisis. Go through. I say this kind of in reaction to what Karin said. If you look at all the revolutions that have taken place in Africa, the small and the big one, there's always a leader. South Africa had Mandela. Cuba had its Castro. Cape Verde had Amilcar Cabral. Mozambique had Samora Machel. Angola had Agostinho Neto. Rwanda had Paul Kagame. Ethiopia had Meles Zenawi. Sudan had John Garang. South Sudan had John Garang. And even go far back as Uganda, it had its Museveni. So look, who is the leader of Southern Cameroon? I ask that question again. And please don't be, you know, you can dismiss it. I mean, that's fine. You know, I'm not vying for for a position there. But I want a solution, and I want a quick solution. And I was telling you about why the international community has not engaged in the case of Cameroon as in all the other cases. Let us find, you know, and look at how many of these people were in jail before they emerged and led the fight for independence or freedom. You know, so it is good enough to say, well, you know, we've been on it, we've been here only for 4 years, and we're already there. You've not made 1 mile towards Boya on your trip to Boya. You've not achieved 1 mile. We're still far away from that reality. So you either accept it and say, what do we do differently, or we continue to propose the same solutions and expect to have different outcomes. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, you know, we can take comfort in what we feel is the way to resolve this, or we will eventually get there. I mean, every day we are eventually getting there. Every day the economy is being destroyed, people are being killed, and we're not moving any closer to a solution. That is fact. I want anybody to challenge me on this. So we have to do something differently. To get a different outcome, we have to do something differently. Believe me. Cameroon is not going to buckle under and then grant independence. The world is not going to come and fight the government in Yaoundé. So to get a different outcome, we need to rethink things, come up with a different set of solutions. I say this, and I think, you know, let's bring it back to social media. That is where we can, It's a very powerful transformational instrument, social media. We can use it to change the dialogue. We can use it to enrich our thinking on these issues and take away, reduce the emotional levels that prevent us from seeing things as we should. Social media can be our partner in this, not the reverse. Right
Thank you so
now,
much. Modest,
anyway.
can I say something, please?
Yes, you will say
Please,
something. I think he still has some seconds to learn.
Okay.
No, I'm done. Please.
Okay.
No.
Then
Go
you
ahead,
can come in,
Karim.
Karim.
Please.
Yes. I marvel, or I am surprised. That's the right word. I'm surprised when Comrade Eric Chinje says that who is the leader of the Amazonian revolution. If I remember correctly, some time ago you visited Comrade Siku Ayok Tabe in jail in Yaoundé. If you didn't recognize him at some level as the leader of the Amazonian revolution, I don't think that you would have made that visit to the prisons, because I haven't seen you
but
go to speak with
I do,
I
my
haven't
dear.
seen
I
you go
do
to speak
recognize Ayuk.
with Sako Ekome, who claims
Yeah,
to
I do
be the
recognize
leader
Ayuk,
of.
but it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the international
Yes,
community. Please let's look
that
at the facts.
that's true. That's true. It's about the international community, and I think that some of them do, but they want us as Ambazonians to rally behind this one particular person and say, this is the leader that we are all falling behind. And I think that that's why I mentioned earlier that we're dealing with human minds, people that we cannot control the way they think. And as you rightly mentioned, that we have to sit and look at how we can come together as a people and fall behind this one particular leader that majority of Ambazonians recognize as their leader, who is Siku Ayok Tabe. And we're making our voices heard, especially those of us who are so passionate about the revolution. And we're hoping that the international community will see what we are actually saying, who we are choosing. Because if you want to do a census regarding who the Ambazonians want or choose or recognize as their leader, 80% or more of Ambazonians will say Sisiku Ayok Julius Tabe is the leader of the Ambazonian revolution. They would say that. And I think that the more we say that and the more we show the international community by our actions that this is the person that we want to lead us, the international community will eventually come around. It's a process.
Karim.
It's not
Karim,
the
you have a
process that
point,
South
but
Africa took.
I would want to ask you this question so you elaborate. Why
Yes.
won't the struggle take like this point Eric Chinje brought on and see that they really fight as quick as possible to rally support to one person that the 80% believe for? Because the support for Sako Ekome is breaking down that unique strength that you guys would have put to fight the common enemy. Because this faction is already a crack in the foundation. So I think what Eric Chinje has said is just a supporting statement that you guys could pick from there and really build the strength and not wait for the 27 years that Mandela waited to liberate his people, or not wait for the number of years that Southern Sudan waited. Wouldn't that be a strong point that you guys should take over and develop on it?
It is, and we're taking. I think for those who tuned into this show tonight, I think they're taking on board what Comrade Eric Chinje just suggested that we should be doing. But you know, the greed can drive even a son to sell his mother. Greed can drive even a son to sell his children. It's unfortunate that the camp of Sako Ekome is the camp that strives on greed. But what we're hoping is that the people who are supporting him, the people of the revolution, the Ambazonians who are supporting him, will eventually know that they are supporting a wrong cause. Because history will recount all that is happening. And it's up to the conscience of the Ambazonians who are supporting the wrong cause to know that history will hold them accountable. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take, but it's definitely going to hold them accountable. And not to say that we are not taking on board what Comrade Eric Chinde has suggested. We're doing that, and we're looking at ways that we can be able to rally behind one person, because I know that all of us, 100% of Ambazonians, cannot rally behind one man, given the nature of human beings. It never happened even in South Africa here, when apartheid was going on. There are people who were selling the revolutionaries to the government at the time. They were doing that. So it can't be 100% rally behind the main leader, but we're hoping that we're going to increase that percentage.
Thank you so much.
Karine and Modest, I don't know if I can just throw this in quickly before we end. I don't know if we're ending, but the point I want to make is, and I totally agree, Karine, there's no revolution that has had just one person in leadership, but the revolution, every revolution has identified with one leader for it to ultimately succeed. China had Mao Zedong. Without Mao, there were 1,000 other people trying to pull China in different directions. And this is true for all the names I gave earlier. What I want to say is, maybe you, Karine, or Pat who left, anybody, any one of us should organize some kind of web-based election between Sako, Bo Herbert, and Ayuk Tabe, and so on. Maybe some web-based election should take place. That's what these instruments are for. They can help us achieve what we cannot ordinarily achieve. So why not use that? Why you're in South Africa with Anyangwe and all the others? Why can't you just decide that, okay, we will organize this election? And if it's Sako who comes out, so be it. But if it's a free and fair and well-organized election, the world will know. And it doesn't matter who it is. Cho, Ayaba, whatever that fellow is called. It could be any one of them. So let's try and do that. That may be one way this program could have contributed to resolving that crisis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eric Chinde. I think Dr. Patrick is back. Patrick, can you hear us? Oh, Patrick, you still have issues. Karine, I think tonight
Hello,
we
can you hear
will love... Okay, Patrick, if you are on board, I think with the points Eric Chinde did put forth, and Karine also supported that these points were worthy. How strong are you capitalizing on this to see the go ahead? Because now, using the tool of social media, an international meeting can be organized, that a virtual meeting that will be stronger than if a physical one were organized. So what are the steps you guys are taking to see that you use only perhaps the Zoom platform to organize an international meeting where you guys can come to a synergy and stand behind one person and speak like a unique voice and perhaps more organized, so that you can achieve the goals of the revolution shorter than you guys expect?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Pat, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The most important thing that we need is that, one, what Comrade Eric Chinde just suggested can never happen in a revolution. It never happen in a revolution for you to have, there is a leader, there are groups. You have AGF that has a group. You have the interim government. The interim government is led by President Sisiku. And when President Sisiku were adopted, there was an acting. When you are acting, the moment the person that is not available comes around, your acting role becomes redundant and it doesn't have any value again. You just have to queue. So President Sisiku came and recalled that people should fall back as the leadership used to be before their abduction. So that is what is happening. Of course, there was a splinter group that is led by the pastor in Maryland. That is a splinter group, but the IG remains the IG that was formed in Zaria, and which the people respect and think about it. So the first thing is that you can never have one leader in a revolution. You can have authentic leaders in a revolution that people rely on, and that authentic leader that the world is looking at is in La Republique jail. That is true. That notwithstanding, Ayabacho is a leader of AGOF-C, and he recognizes other people that are in the revolution. And so too is Akwanga, that is with his own organization. And it's the same dynamic anywhere in the world in every revolution.
Oh, no, that's not true.
So,
not true.
Yeah, it's the dynamic in every revolution. And let me tell you, the South African Revolution had more than one leader. Mandela was not the only leader in South African Revolution. Even though he was the main leader, Mandela was not the only leader. Mandela was there. There were other leaders like Chief Bitolezi. And there were other leaders in MDC that were also part of the South African leadership. And they used to have their problem. So Ambazonians will not come together to get their freedom. You cannot get total unity, everybody. But what they have been doing, they have been talking to one another behind the scene. There are Zoom meetings that have been held to talk to one another, to reduce the level of bashing one another on social media, to try to understand and behave. But sometimes, some of the evil of the social media is that you can talk to leaders, but some people might get and write whatever they want to say. These are things that you cannot control them. You cannot control them, and that is part of the social media. The only thing we can control is when people start disciplining people who share fake information, people who blackmail, either by dragging them to the court of law, that they will be held accountable. So it's not only limited to Ambazonia. And you cannot organize an election. People met in Zaria and endorsed their leaders by all country coordinators in the world. And that is what has been done before the abduction. The Cameroon government adopted the Ambazonian leader, and that Ambazonian leader is in their hand. Any other one that they are trying to say they want to bring on board is just a leader that was coming to help them to meet their French ideology, divide and rule. So there is no division that you can say is a serious problem. But always there is room for improvement. And that room for improvement is that they will continue talking to one another through Zoom meetings. A lot of Zoom meetings take place, not in public. So you cannot solve a problem in public. And there is nothing like election on social media. Ambazonians already have their leaders. We are not in a democracy. We are in a revolution. And after the revolution, there will be room for a transitional government. And when there is a room for a transitional government, whatsoever group that is there that is capable of promoting democracy in Ambazonia will come together and contest for election. So there are a lot of things. So Sisiku leading the revolution is the head of the revolution, is the face of the revolution. The world knows about that.
Can I just say something? I mean,
yes.
Yes, Pat, you contradict yourself. And that's why we're where we are. When we suggest social media or any other system to have an election, it's for the world to know. It's for the world to know. If these meetings taking place that you talk about could take place more publicly, so that we see the consensus within the leadership of Ambazonia, that will be fine. I'm not saying, carry out social media elections. I'm just suggesting that as one way to tell the world that we have a leader. And right now, and as I say, you keep contradicting yourself. There is no one leader. And the fact that we said the South African identified with Mandela does not mean the The other leaders were not there. There were a host of, there were leaders at all levels, but they all, at the end of the day, 80% of those people, 80% of those people made it clear that what Mandela is saying is what they will be saying. So the world knew that ultimately, even after 27 years of trying to sideline Mandela, they hadn't succeeded, and then they spoke to him. So there needs to be someone
that's what is happening.
known with,
that's what is happening with Ambazonia. There is someone in there is someone in La Republique jail. That is what is happening with Ambazonia. Yes. There is someone in La Republique jail that is the Mandela of Ambazonia. And the world knows that. That is why a lot of money was spent to take that person. So it is not about going for election to flatter the world. Ambazonians have their own privacy. They have their own way of solving their own problems. They are engaged one another. It is not about the public. That is why the world is talking to Sisiku. That is why international organizations are talking. And the same thing happened with the South African Revolution. So you cannot get them discussing their things in a public space for everybody to see in yourself. They have a little bit of consultation with one another, and they try to address their thing behind the scene. 80% or more of Ambazonia know that Sisiku is their leader. And so many people came to this revolution. This revolution became worse when Sisiku was adopted, and a lot of people that were in the fringe probably joined the revolution to protest against that. So just know that more than 80% of the world, even Ambazonia, they know, some can pretend, but they know that Sisiku is their leader. And that's why the regime spend millions. You don't spend millions on somebody that is not important, that is not relevant. They spend billions to keep a leader that they can talk to. The South African government kept Mandela, no matter the shenanigans that were made by the apartheid regime to confuse the other people outside using Buthelezi. They stood their ground. Ambazonians are standing their ground to make sure that shenanigan or confusion being created by La Republique using the apartheid style of to say we don't know what to talk to. We don't even also know what to talk to in La Republique because there is confusion in their camp. Have they held Zoom meeting to talk about the disagreement? There was a discussion between the Ambazonian and representative of La Republique. What happened? Communication came and said there is no discussion, but really discussion took place. Also, have they held Zoom meetings to say who is in charge? Because we're hearing from this one, we're getting from this one, who is really in charge? Let's come together and do that. It can never happen, especially in a revolution. So that is a wrong precedent, and that one I cannot accept because it is not grounded. Your premise, it has nothing. It doesn't happen.
Okay, Doctor.
Your premise is totally. Your premise is totally. Can you hear me?
Eric Chije wants to step in there with another supporting fact.
Yes.
So
no, I just want to say, Pat's premise is wrong about about a revolution not having one leader. Let me say this: if you're convinced that Ayub Tabe is the accepted leader by everyone, then let's work around him to ensure that the international community recognizes that. I can tell you, and I'm sure you can, I can tell you that this international community that we know is confused about the situation in Cameroon. And if you think differently, then you're working on a wrong set of facts. But if you agree, then let's work to promote the fact that Ayub Tabe is the leader, the one they should listen to, and believe me, that will put enough pressure on the government of Cameroon to act appropriately. It's not because Ayub is in jail that he's no longer leader.
I buy your point, but
Dr. Pat,
I buy your point.
Dr. Pat, yes, like Eric is saying, if unanimously the struggle, the group in general brands Ayub Tabe as the leader, gather the energy, the force, and put behind him, it will be faster than any other group that is really fighting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what you need to know. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But it cannot happen in a world scenario because there are other leaders that controlling groups, and it happened with South African. It happened with South Africa with apartheid. But the most important thing is that As time goes on, the real leaders reveal themselves. Ayoktabe has revealed himself as a leader of the revolution. There are other leaders that are doing that. There is no way you can bring them together. If 80 to 70%, 70 to 80% sees Ayoktabe as their leader, and I know the world sees that, and I work with international organizations, we share a lot of information. We hold meetings with international partners. They know that Ayoktabe is loved, respected, supported by the majority of Ambazonia. Yes, there are other leaders. You cannot put the leadership in one pot. There are other leaders that can make significant role in the revolution, just like the South African revolution. I agree with you, but it can never happen in the real world scenario. We just trying to create a circus, you know. We just know that that is the leader of the Ambazonian revolution. That is the main person. There are other people that are talking around. We can work together and do that. Buthelezi was talking in South Africa, and General Bantu Olumuse was talking in South Africa. ANC people were also on their own side. That did not make the world to say there is no leader in South Africa. They educated the world. When this Ambazonian thing started, as civil society, we used to talk Ambazonia, and there were European activists that say, no, don't use that word Ambazonia again. But today, we educated them, just like we are the leadership. We continue educating them that forget about this commotion that has been created, artificial noise being created by the regime that they don't know who to talk to. We'll continue educating them. And today, they are happy to call the people Ambazonia, because you cannot stop the people from using their own name. You have the right to a name. You have the right to an identity. It's your right to decide on whatever name you use. You know. So we educated them, and they are using it. There will be more education for that, and we'll rally around that.
Yes, Dr. Pat, we will be rounding up. I will give Karin 2 minutes. Then we'll come back to you, and Eric Chinje will round up the day. So, Karin, you have 2 minutes to talk. Pat has had a good time to talk now. He will have 1 minute. Then Eric Chinje will round up for today's talk. Karin, what is your take?
Yeah. All in all, I think social media has placed us where we are today, exposing our strengths, exposing our weaknesses, even as a continent. But good always triumphs over evil. And that is what will happen in the situation of Southern Cameroon, and that is what will happen on the continent. The social media has played a role and is playing a role, and it will continue to play a role in democracy in Africa, and not leaving Southern Cameroon or Cameroon away. It will continue to play a role. And as Ambazonians, we're going to figure it out. We'll get it right, and we'll get what is rightfully ours. We'll get what we deserve, what is rightfully ours. The international community may be playing games and saying they don't know who is the leader of Ambazonia, but more than 80% of Ambazonians are sure of who their leader is, and that is Sisiku Ayok Julius Tabe. And the international community will definitely see what we are seeing and say what we are saying. That Sisiku Ayok Tabe is our leader.
Thank you so much, Karin. Dr. Patrick Ayuk, all the way from South Africa. Are you on?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Media to Africa for giving us this platform. And I want to thank Comrade Karin and Comrade Eric for the great discussions we have had, the debate, in order to push forward as far as social media is concerned. Social media has only made people to understand that you can pull down a dictator or any strong regime that has been built for decades in less than no time. That is what Ambazonians have done. They have used the social media with little money to actually crack down, destroy the PRO firms or PRO engagement that the Cameroon government has. They have actually used the social media to also debunk the wrong that has existed about Cameroon. They have used the social media to re-educate the Cameroonians that were not well educated. They were derailed, miseducated because of the way the system operates. So it's very important. And in Africa as a whole, you see Uganda using the social media. Museveni shut down the internet, but they use the social media to disseminate information. You're seeing you coming up like Bobby coming up. That is what is happening in Africa, promoting African leadership, building robust system, promoting democracy, and also using the social media to capture data on the ground, to feed the world with the right information, especially when information that comes with derailing people about the leadership, the right leadership that they're supposed to know. We are using the platform, the social media, to tell the world that they know they are the leaders on a revolution. They know who was captured forcefully, spending millions, and that leader is in jail. It's Sisiku Ayotabe and his other members that were adopted in Nigeria. So it's very important. It has helped us to grow. It is better. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Mr. Eric Chinje, you will round off for the day. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Modest. And I'll just say three very quick things. And in the 2 minutes you've given me. One is on social media itself as a platform, I want to say this. It is a very important and a transformational event which we should recognize and use for good purpose. So that's one. Secondly, I want to point to the fact that this instrument, the social media could serve us as a palaver forum. We understand that. Which would allow us to identify and promote common values. Let's use it for that. And I think we can. Third thing I want to say is we need to be more strategic in how we use it to address the crisis in our homeland, knowing that we can, if we use it strategically, we can accelerate the pace at which we get to a solution. This should not be an interminable war. We can use social media to move us towards a solution in ways that are much quicker than would otherwise be the case. And just in passing, I want to let you know that I fully support my friend and brother, Sisiko Ayuktabe.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eric Chinje. We want to thank you so much because within a very short time we invited you. You accepted to come and grace our platform again. It's an honor for us. Thank you, Karim, for dedicating your time. Thank Dr. Pat Ayuk of Samsoya Center for Democracy and Human Rights. It has been a great show tonight with you guys. We're so happy and we look up to coordinate against some of these, to organize some of these talks again. And I think Jesse wished that we stayed longer and we are opening the doors for another talk. So Jesse, brace up. Big brother Eric Chinje will always be there. I saw you supporting some of his points he brought up, and we loved it because he stayed very focused and all the points were very contributing to a better fight or a better tomorrow. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Thanks for those who stayed to follow the program throughout and those who will still have to watch when they come back from their respective duties. It has been Media 2 Africa. I am Mbumwe Modest. Thank you. Stay connected for next programs.
another year of the prestigious night of the Mother celebration as we are celebrating the most genuine and basic human emotions which drove us forward in this beautiful world. Mother Road, event of the year, Adasa Night, coming in the DMV area on May 8th, 2021. Guest artist Adele Clarice, Aniva Divas,
Mon peuple me, je suis impuissante.
sit through the eyes of international star Sami Diko. Microphone, the golden voice Stéphane Le Chevalier. Experience the magic with Maréchal Tiano, La Voix Chromée. On the mix, DJ Olivier from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. at Luxury Hall, Hampton Conference Center, 207 Hampton Place. Media to Africa, VIP sponsor, Africa Gora, Decor, Shalom Services, Seats Limited, Pace at $150 and up. Experience the reality here. Aperitif, dîner à la carte, serve with wine, show all night with champagne, nectar rose. Don't miss out. Call now 240-6830. Visit our website www.adasamothersdaynight.com. Adasa Night, mother, loving, caring and compassionate.